action on the financial markets. So let's go through the sanctions. What do they cover and how are they affecting the markets?
These are much broader sanctions compared to what we had earlier in the week from the US, from the EU, from the UK and others. Now, Russian banks are being targeted here and much bigger banks than we saw previously. Essentially, Russian banks are being cut off from financial markets here. Assets are being frozen and sanctions are far reaching, with VTB, which is Russia's second biggest bank, facing full sanctions now from the US and the UK. They're also targeting other companies, particularly in sectors like defense. So Russian companies that make tanks, ships, missiles, they are now facing sanctions. The list of individuals, oligarchs, people close to President Putin has been expanded as well, and their families. So Europe will no longer be a second home for many Russians there. Their assets will be frozen. There are travel bans being put in place. And then there's a really interesting measures relating to export restrictions from the EU, from the US and the UK. And they're very much targeted at technology, making sure that Russia can't access certain technology that they really rely on, particularly in defense, but also other sectors. And just to give you an idea, Kim, of how far-reaching that is, when you look at the US and their decision to do this, it impacts a chip maker in Taiwan, the world's biggest chip maker. They use US technology, therefore they cannot sell their semiconductors to Russia. What's also interesting is what is not on the list, and obviously that is oil, that is gas, that is wheat, that is metals. Russia's still able to sell those products that are its biggest revenue drivers, and of course, SWIFT.
Yeah, well, let's talk about SWIFT, right? One of the things they didn't do was exclude Russia from that SWIFT system, which allows the transactions between those thousands of financial institutions around the world. So why didn't they take that step, which many countries, including Ukraine, were pushing for?
Yeah, and it's been discussed now for weeks behind closed doors, and this really had the ability to really devastate Russia's economy. It could see its economy shrink by 5%. But there was some serious division, and that's actually something that US President Joe Biden spoke about last night. Take a listen.
It is always an option, but right now that's not the position that the rest of Europe wishes to take.
Now, senior EU sources told us this is where the split was within the EU, which is where SWIFT is based. So you have Poland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania wanting to disconnect Russia from this financial payment system. Germany, Italy, Hungary, and Cyprus didn't. They're countries with really strong economic ties to Russia. Germany is already, of course, facing potential huge fallout in terms of energy due to Nord Stream 2. That is why that we are seeing such divisions. We've just had the UK Defence Minister speaking on the BBC, saying the UK would have liked to have seen that measure enacted. Kim?
Yeah, I saw that. Thanks so much, Esther.